Okay, welcome to Communication Conquest, communication in the DMs. Today, we're going to talk about common mistakes that we see in the DMs. So, what we mean by DMs is direct messaging on platforms such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever social media platform that you are communicating to people, prospects, potential clients on, and having those conversations with. And the goal of those conversations in the DM is develop relationships, connections, grow your audience, generate leads, book calls to eventually sell your service, as this is the whole point of what we're trying to do here. This video, I'm going to go into mistake number one, and this will be a series where we'll put the common mistakes and give you ways of solving them and how to avoid things. As at the end of the day, what's very important in communication, in relationships, in how you approach people is the perception they have of you. Now, especially being freelancers from India or from Asia, there is a certain perception about that. And what we want to, the whole point of this group is to build you up in a certain way that the Western market do not have these negative stereotypes or perceptions of you. And the beginning of this are very obvious things that you can avoid doing that will immediately set you apart from the most common person who's also doing the same thing. So the whole goal of this is to build you up to a freelancer level where you have authority, you are not needy, you're not desperate, you have a good reputation, a good social status online. And eventually we want it to be where people are looking out for you and you're not desperate for this for closing them as a client. They're going to seek you. Okay, so reputation, social reputation is highly important, and it's the one thing that can be ruined at the start of the conversation. It's first impressions count, and if you lead with the wrong first impression, or you say something that gives them a different opinion about or a trust that they don't believe in, then you're going to ruin your chances completely. So this series will go over some mistakes and how to avoid doing them, what to do instead. So mistake number one, which will be the purpose of this video, is using very overly formal greetings. Now, what do I mean by this? Things like starting your message with respected sir or madam, or hello sir or madam. So these are very formal, and I'm going to explain why it doesn't work. I'm going to explain how it affects the dynamics of the conversation in terms of the power and the difference between how they perceive you and how you are in your status to them. And then I'm going to show you what to do instead. Okay, so why it doesn't work? Why don't formal greetings work? So essentially, if you are an Asian or an Indian freelancer and you're trying to communicate with the Western market, you have to understand that there's a difference of culture. So by using things that are associated with your own culture that doesn't fit with the Western culture, it's going to cause a cultural mismatch. It's going to make you seem out of touch. So something like saying hello, sir, respected sir. It's a thing that happens in India because of the cultural difference that in India these kind of things are respected, or in India you if you have to kind of display that you are aware of the social standings and you treat someone in a certain way because they're supposedly meant to be above you, when that's how the culture system works. In the West it's different. So the West, especially now, we're talking about online communication, because that's what we're all trying to do. We're all trying to sell our services online, which we mean in the DMs, email, your audience, whatever it is, it's YouTube, whatever it is, right? We're trying to promote ourselves and gain attention online. Online communication is very, very casual and more direct. Okay, so you want to keep that tone of online communication. It's like when you're chatting, everyone's chatting but they're texting, right? You can't be too formal when you're texting. It just doesn't feel right. You're not writing a letter. You're not sending an important government email or anything like that. You're just chatting to a regular person who may need your services. So what your tone has to be is very casual, yet respectful. Always remain respectful and polite. But what this will do is make you seem relatable and approachable. So, you may have heard the saying, people buy things from who they know, they like, and they trust. Being relatable and being approachable will make them feel that they can like you more, know you more, trust you more, as you're more like them. So the next point is overly formal greetings seem very impersonal and generic. It's as if you're just sending it to the same person. Instead, what you should be doing is starting conversations on a more personal note, as this is more likely to engage the person. It's going to lead to more meaningful relationships, and it'll allow them to feel they can actually get something good out of this conversation, which is what you want them to feel. So you want them to feel that, okay, he's approachable, he's uh, this relationship will start off on the right foot, which will bring me on to um, the next topic. So the next point. But you want them to feel that the if I deal with this person, the whole interaction will be pleasant, not just in the DMs, but later, as we do business together, as I get on calls with him. You want them to feel that you're like them more in a way. So third point is formal language creates this distance, right? It acts as a barrier. If you're sending a governmental email and it's too formal or whatever it is, it's this very unnecessary stiff tone, and it's going to discourage the flow of communication, especially in the DMs, right? It's like, how do you talk to your friends? Or how do you talk to just someone, a regular person? So we have to translate this to the DMs while still being respectful and while still being, polite and open enough without being needy and desperate. So, people, we all have things to do. We're all on our mission, our goals to make it money online, whatever we're trying to do, sort out our family, our personal stuff. So people are busy, right? So you need to set the right tone immediately. This gives them that feeling, like I mentioned, that the entire interaction with you will be valuable enough for them to continue. And if you start this off in a very overly formal, stiff manner, they're going to think, oh, the whole conversation is going to be like that. So you want to avoid this problem. So this leads us to, importantly, the power dynamics between you and the person you're speaking to. So if you are too formal and you use things like sir, madam, specifically we're talking about these words, right? Sir and madam. The West doesn't. The West says yes, sir, yes, ma'am, as a politeness. They don't respect. They don't greet someone like that. It's more of like a cultural politeness that they use, and they say it to their friends. But in this formality, when you're greeting someone, you don't need to use it. What you're inadvertently communicating, without knowing, you're communicating that you are lower or inferior to them. And they will get this feeling that, okay, if this person thinks they're lower than me or inferior to me, how are they going to provide me any value? If you don't even value your own self, how are you going to provide me value? So why should I continue talking to him? That's point number one. Point number two is your reduced negotiation power, which means you're coming to the table with a position of desperation, neediness, which you're telling them that you need them more than they need you, which immediately puts you in the wrong position. You need to come from the angle that they need you more than you need them. And over this training, over this series, we're going to show you how you can do that. And it's a very subtle, it's very small things that can be the difference between completely obliterating or ruining your chances to actually creating a very, very good first impression. Point number three, potential clients will undervalue your worth. Okay. They'll think you don't have the expertise or the experience, which will lead to lower pays and even lower respect of the way they treat you, which you don't want. At the end of the day, we want you to sign on with Western clients, and they treat you with respect because they see the value. They don't think, oh, because you're from Asia or from India, I can treat them differently because they're cheaper or anything. We don't want them to think that. We want them to think that this person is so good at what he does, wherever they're from, I will treat them with the same respect as I treat my neighbor, for example. And, we've worked with people from India and Asia who have achieved these things. And it's mainly to do with the communication they have. Because look, we all have many skills we can promote. We all can become good at something. And I know guys from Asia, guys and girls from Asia are very resourceful. They're very good at learning things, adapting, finding out ways to improve things. But it's the communication parts of it that they struggle with. And that can be the big difference on how they're perceived by the West. So, all this essentially kills your chances, first impressions. And instead, they need to see you as a valuable asset who can bring something unique to the table, not just another service provider like the many others that are out there who's desperate and needy for business. It's the other way around. They need to see you as you don't need them. They need you. You decide if you should work with them. They don't decide that I'll pay you less and then you can work with me. No, it's not going to be like that anymore for you. Okay, so here's what to do instead. Okay, very, very simple. Just address them by their first name using hi or hey. Hi, David. Hey, David, for example. Okay, none of this, sir, madam, respected, dear. Don't put that there. Yeah, even dear, don't ever use this. Just hi or hey. Don't even use hello. Hello is even formal. For modern day chatting in the DMs, hello is very formal. So don't use just hi or hey in their first name. Second is match their tone. So if they're casual, be casual. If they're formal, a bit more formal, be a bit more formal. Of course, don't be overly formal, right? Don't go to the extreme, but just match how they are speaking. If they message you with something like, yo, what's up? Then match that in a way. You don't have to use the same words, but you know that guy is a bit more casual. So you can be a bit more casual. Don't be someone you're not, and don't use words that you're not used to using. And later I'll show you the kind of words in other trainings. I'll show you the kind of words you can be using to create that impression that you are casual or matching their tone. But if they speak to you in a certain way, just try and match that tone. Third, this is very important. Be relaxed. Always be relaxed in your conversation. Be non-needy. You're chilled out. Okay. You don't be trying to convince them or trying to sell them. Okay. Now, from now on, you will never be trying to convince people. They will be, from how you come to the table and how the amount of value you give, they will convince themselves about you, and how you communicate to them. They will convince themselves, because you'll have this air of professional. He knows what he's talking about, and he's straight with his words, and he's very clear in his communication. So from now on, don't convince them that they need your services. Don't convince them that how good you are, or you're trying to sell them this or these features. It's not about that now, right? We're coming to the table with giving value, which comes to the next point. Your fundamental thinking should be, how do I add value to them? Which means, how do I give them something, knowledge, advice, tips, strategy, opinion, something that solves a problem of theirs? How can I give that to them without them having to do something in return? So you're just giving this value for free without them having to go out of their way, paying anything. You're trying to create this balance where this dynamic where you've got a lot of knowledge to solve problems, and you're just giving it to them. Because at the end of the day, what they want to save their time, they want to save their money, they want to save their effort, they want to make things easy for themselves. So what will happen is, once you give them a solution, and this can be a bit of knowledge, a video, a 5-minute video showing how to do something, they, most of the times, they won't do it themselves. They will want to still hire someone to fix that problem for them. You just need to show them that you know how to fix that problem and give them the solution. Then they'll probably think, okay, thank you for the solution. In fact, can you just do it for me? And that's when you can take it to the next level and charge for actually doing something for them. You don't need to necessarily charge for the knowledge you're giving, but you charge for the implementation, which means you charge when you're going to do something for them. And a lot of this knowledge can be productized, automated through videos that you can send to multiple people. So remember, it's all about them and how they perceive things. It's not about you. So you should be, your main thought should be, how can they benefit from this without them having to do anything extra? Okay, so you want them to feel you know what you're talking about, you're knowledgeable, you have the expertise, you have the experience, you're not desperate, you have a lot of solutions in your head that you're just giving out. That's how you create this air of authority that, hey, this guy knows a lot, he's teaching a lot, he's showing me stuff, he must know so much that, okay, if we paid him now, what problems can he fix for us? This is what you want to keep building, this bank of knowledge that you're giving away to people. And create videos, create posts, but really, really build things that really help. Don't shortchange people. Don't build something for the sake of it. Build something that's really, really going to help them. As then they'll see that, they'll be like, wow, you want to wow them with your free stuff. To be like, this is so good. And then they'll be convinced that they'll convince themselves. And, of course, you want them to feel you don't have an agenda, right? You're not just sending stuff so you close them back on the back end. You don't have to be needy. That's the whole point, right? You're just sharing knowledge. The ones that appreciate it will come to you and say, oh, can you help me further? Then you charge. You don't think that if I send this video to 100 people, I'm going to get 100 clients. You may get 0. You may get 10, you may get 20, you may get referrals, but just don't have the agenda. Just say, I'm sharing this knowledge. I'm building this bank of knowledge that I'm putting out there to the world. So at the end of the day, to sum this video up, be casual, be relaxed, non-needy. And the main thinking should be, how do I benefit their lives? How do I give value to them? So hope this video was helpful. This is video 1 on mistake number 1. And this series will be common mistakes and how to fix it. So thank you for watching. Hope this was valuable, and I'll see you on the next video.